What is up, everyone? We have an EBZ8550. It is a Redmax, really good blower. I have one almost identical to this. The one I have is the type that has a throttle on the little arm down here. This one has a throttle on the actual tube. I kind of like it on the tube. I also kind of like mine. They're both great systems. The motor runs. In fact, I saw it run. The owner gave it to me running. Now, the problem he was having is, well, yes, he does kind of want to have a choke lever because these always break off. He can live with no choke, at least the choke that you just have to pull with your finger like so. His main problem is every time he turns it on, it's on full throttle because the handle is stuck at full throttle. So let's take a look. I haven't looked at this at all. I'm going to first take a look at the line because I don't know if... I mean, this is kind of looking funky. It doesn't look like it's crimped. You know what? I do believe I put this on because I taped it. Yeah, this is when I put it on a while back. But don't know what's happening. So I say we take a look. Maybe it slipped off. Maybe I don't know. But he was using it for quite a while, and he said one day he took it off his trailer and it was just stuck on full throttle. So let's take a look. I think first we are going to just look at the actual handle itself. Not gonna lie, when you first hear, oh yeah, this machine that you've already worked on, there's something wrong, you kind of get concerned. Then you hear, oh wait, this has been running and working great for months. And now there's a problem. So that's good. Well, not good, but not bad for me. You know what? I did not do this one. I did something to a steel like this. I have not worked on this cable, at least. I'm remembering now. It was a steel BR800X that I did that to. So I'm not sure why that's taped, but who knows. And even then, the reason why I taped it was because that's what the customer wanted. So right now I'm just trying to see if it's the cable, and it does kind of feel like it's the cable. The throttle itself doesn't appear to be stuck in any way. So we'll take the cable out. Yeah, the cable's stuck. So that usually means corrosion, or that means it was hit, crimped, something. I think we'll look at the carb end and see if there's anything weird going on there. It's hard to tell, but the cable runs up here, has an L in it, and then comes back into the top of the carburetor with this little cover. This little cover I did replace for him, that's right. I'll have to look at my notes and see what exactly I worked on this machine. Yeah, it's definitely not returning. That little white cap, it can get a little annoying to have to replace, so don't lose it. There we go. There we go. So the carb itself is returning. That's not a problem. So I do believe we have a problem with strictly the cable. I'm going to pull on this. Yeah, that's not wanting to return. So I'm going to take a little bit of a closer look just to make sure it's not bent or crimped somewhere. And if it isn't, we might be in the market for a new cable. Here we go. So I pulled on it and all of a sudden it just instantly went loose. If you look in there, there's a little bit of corrosion. So we might try a cable oiling trick. Okay, it's not really a trick, but this is called a cable oiler. And I'll explain it. It's a little hard to show you why I'm doing it, mainly because I need two hands. But these screws move up this plate up and down. Inside there's a rubber piece. This rubber piece corresponds with these pieces, or is part of these pieces. This has a hole. That hole is meant for lubricant, in this case WD-40. You can put whatever you want, but make sure it's good. So what ends up happening is when you push this down, it makes hopefully a good seal, and then when you put oil in there, oil gets forced up the cable. Now when it's installed, it looks like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shove that red end of the, I don't know, straw in there, and then try to force WD-40 up this cable. That's how it ends up looking. Inside here there's like little rubber steps depending on the size of your cable. I went to the one that's the most appropriate for this cable, just by feel. And you'll know everything's working if there's oil coming out of this end of the cable. If there's oil spraying out the other end of the cable because it's not making a good seal, then it's not working. But this should never be done if your cable's frayed. I didn't see it fray. It doesn't mean there isn't a fray somewhere in there, but if it is frayed, the cable's garbage. So don't even bother, you're just going to waste your time. But I didn't see anything, so we'll give this a try and see if it works. Well, unfortunately, that did not work, but it did do something. So when I was spraying it, it was coming out of the end. That's kind of will always happen. You're never going to have a great seal. However, something that did happen is I saw oil come out right here. So I moved the sheeting back, and guess what I found? A hole. So water has been getting in there, corroding it. That could be where the break is in the wire, if there is one, of course. So at this point in time, pretty sure this is garbage. I'm going to try doing a little bit more, and if so, I'm going to maybe bend that back a little bit, see if it helps, wrap it into some type of sheeting, maybe electrical heat shrink tubing, stuff like that. But I don't think it's going to work. I'm going to spend a little bit more time lubricating, see if it moves freely, and if it does, great. If not, we'll have to buy a new one. Bad news, I was moving it and it's starting to free up, and all of a sudden I noticed this popped out. When I had pulled this end out completely, and I went to the other side to pull the other side out completely to kind of move it as much as I could, and I look back, there it is. Cable's trashed. So I'm gonna go on the internet, see what we have for new parts. So here's the problem with these parts. You can get a lot of different parts and a lot of different ways for these machines. Now, the first confusing part is if you type in Redmax, for whatever reason, Redmax parts are a little bit more expensive, and for whatever reason, they take more time. Husqvarna, or Husqvarna, however you want to say it, they're exact same part numbers, made in the exact same factory with a different wrapping on it. So I usually choose those. Now you can do about 3 different ways of doing this. One, you could just get the cable only, and that is roughly, knockoff is about $21. OEM Husqvarna is like $38, I believe. Or you can get the cable with pretty much everything except for the handle, and that is about $58 to $65. Then you can get the handle, and the whole assembly goes all the way to the carb and the shutoff, and that is, yet again, depending on if you want to get a knockoff. Knockoffs are as low as $50, and the original is going to be roughly $78. So obviously the $78 version is going to be a whole lot easier. You just have to install it. Comes with everything you need. Disconnect the wiring. Kind of like the idea, because if the cable's broken, who knows about the wiring? Maybe there's a snag. We just can't see everything all the way through, so, you know, there might be something weird going on here. And this isn't the right one anyway. Like I said, this has been done by someone before. Maybe me, I don't know. I don't quite remember. I have to look at my notes. But anyway, kind of leaning towards just getting a new one. I talked to the owner. He said, whatever you think is best. Considering that the wiring isn't all that much, well, the whole wiring, the shutoff and the cable, and the little package that comes in, isn't even that much more expensive than just getting a whole new handle. I mean, while that handle is definitely not in poor condition, you never know, maybe that's going to break here shortly. So I'm going to do my due diligence, I'm going to do a little thinking, and then I'll bring it back when the parts arrive. Okay, I lied, the parts aren't here. I just ordered it. Let me explain what I ordered. In fact, you pause, tell me what you think I've ordered, and then continue on. I'll wait. Perfect. Now, before I tell you, I'm going to explain what you have to do. Now, if you're only ordering the cable, like I said, there's two different versions where there's a throttle on the tube and there's a little arm over there. I kind of like the arm in this situation because they're cheaper. But use-wise, this is a lot more convenient. I looked at all the wiring I could. I peeled back what I could peel back, and I was looking at everything. It's hard with one hand. And I was going through everything, the connections even, trying to see if the connections were homemade or anything like that. Everything looks to be good. I mean, look, even, oh yeah, here we go. This is a good thing. See that? Yep, told you. Husqvarna. Anyway. To go the easier, quickest route, I can get a cable locally tomorrow morning for $38. Brand, OEM, not knockoff. I could get the same thing online for $38, but it'll take a day longer. I need this out of my garage as soon as possible. So I opted to just gain the cable. They also had pretty much everything I explained to you. But locally, they're also going to charge me like an expedited fee for that, but not the cable. For whatever reason, the cable is, there's no expedition fee or expedite fee for it, so whatever. That made a pretty good case in my mind, just buy the cable. So, okay, sorry, there's always people calling now. Anyway, I bought the cable because I could get it faster. There's no fee, and everything looks to be fine. I'm just going to cut the tape, put more tape on there. Everything seems to be okay. Besides the cable, and to be honest, the cable really isn't even that hard to do. It's a pain. It will take longer, but at the end it's going to be cheaper, it's going to get the same result, and it's going to be done a lot faster, which makes me and the owner very happy. It is now the next day, and more importantly, we have the new cable. I've taken the liberty of taking the cable out of the carb, putting it on. That's real simple. It just slides right in. In fact, I didn't even finish. But as you can tell, it's not cinched down. It's literally just hanging there. So we should be ready. I have removed the tape, and this cable just slides into the, I don't know what that'd be, the slit. That's the word I'm looking for. And it's going to go back to the handle. So I'm going to take the handle back off. I put it back on yesterday to make sure I don't lose any of the screws. And then we will put it back on. And at that point, we connect it to the carb. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. And there we have it. Just the end slides right in. That is a little home for the cable. I'm going to put the top on, make sure everything is nice and good. There is a little bit of wiring that is bunched up. That's normal. I've been moving this around and pulling the wiring. I just need to go to the other end, straighten this out, and it should be fine. So other than that, that's pretty much it. I'm going to put this on. Now when you do this, there are two screws on the top there and one on the base. That one, the base, is actually a mounting screw that goes on there. So you could put the two top ones on. In fact, you should, to make it easier. But that long one goes to the mount. So if you put all 3 of them in, you're not going to be able to install this correctly. So don't do that. Try to do this with one hand. So this needs to be spun the other way. Look in there. It's a round little cutout. They're straight. The round cutout. There we go. Now we put the white cover on. Oh, I removed this little tube for the air cleaner. You don't need to, but I just did it so we can see a little easier. Put everything back on. Well, I'm gonna put it back on because if I pull on this, it might actually just rip it right off the machine. And it is on. Let's see if it moves. Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna put that little cover back on. I need to put the tape back on to make sure this doesn't just go, you know, falling apart. I fixed the wiring. This is still a little, not the greatest, but a little tape will make that all good and tight, or good as new. Well, this should start, but who knows? We could be the lucky one and not have it start. Give it a couple primes. Maybe a little bit on the throttle, like a third of the way. Oh man. Let's try that again. I didn't realize this line was so short. Perfect. Not 100% sure if the owner adjusted it to be a high idle or what, but it's now done. So we have a new cable. Everything looks like it is nice and free. Everything looks like it's running good. It was able to idle up or idle down, rev up all the way, return. No problem. Cable's nice and free. So tried to save the cable. Didn't quite work out. It was frayed. Let me grab that one again. See? It was not going to live. That's just probably digging in here. And then of course we have right there where it probably ripped originally. So can't be saved. Throw it away. The only thing I can say is if you're going to be buying a cable only, like I said, make sure you're buying the right one, not the one that's going to go to a different variation of this machine. If you have the one with the throttle like this, get the longer cable. If you have the one with the handle on the side, get the shorter cable. Same exact process. It is easier and cheaper if you have the other style though, just to buy the whole mechanism. It's pretty cheap. It's like $40 something, and the installation takes maybe 10 minutes. So this one, more expensive, but a little longer, a little cheaper, and we still have the same result. Either way, we're good. I'm going to leave you at that. Follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101. If you like what you see, keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will follow you on. I'll see you in the next video. You have a good night.